Hello, I'm Liam Dan, host of the NZ Herald podcast Money Talks. We're back for our 5th season with an exciting range of guests. You can listen to Money Talks at nzherald.co.nz or on your favourite podcast app. New episodes every Saturday.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Warriors have earned a hard-fought 22-14 win over the Cowboys in their NRL clash at Mount Smart. Despite the home side carrying a 10-8 advantage at halftime, the Cowboys bounced back and levelled the scores at 14-all with 20 minutes to go. But a try to Warriors 5'8" Dylan Walker and a late Sean Johnson penalty secured the 2 points for the Warriors. Michael Burgess writes rugby league for the New Zealand Herald, among other things, and joins us now. Thanks for having a yarn to us on what is probably your day off, Burge.
No, I will be heading later to the Phoenix Piney. So.
Oh, maybe your phone won't because we've just lost you. I'm going to put you back on hold. Andy, can we check where Michael is? Because I think he might have just cut out there as I was chatting to him. We're nowhere near far enough through the chat to not continue it. So we're just making sure that that Burge is in a place where we can hear him clearly. I read a tweet that we've got him back. We've got him back. I think we've got you back now.
Yep, I'm back. Yep.
I didn't want our conversation to be about 11 seconds. I wanted it to be a bit longer. We've got you sounding a lot better. You're sounding a lot better. And we'll see you at the Phoenix later on. But let's talk the Warriors. You tweeted after the game last night. That's the kind of victory you can build a season on. Not pretty, but they found a way, a result built in the trenches. This speaks a lot, doesn't it, Burge, to the resilience of the Warriors of 2023.
It does, and it's becoming kind of a repetitive theme, but isn't that good that has become the theme of the season rather than, previous themes we've seen in other campaigns? I mean, they've had a lot of, it's a cliche, but they've had a lot of wins that have been sort of winning ugly, but that's a really good trait to have, and this was another one last night because they never really found any rhythm. They never got going. They made a lot of errors. They only had 43% possession. They had 4 goal line dropouts to 1. A lot of 6 agains they conceded as well. So everything was sort of going against them. But they kept turning up, kept defending well, and eventually found a way to get home, which is always the trademark of good teams.
Warriors fans have become used to disappointment in the first 5 or 6 minutes of games this season. It was good to see the Warriors themselves score the first try yesterday, Burge.
It was, yeah, and I think it was a big crowd at Mount Smart, almost 24,000 people, and I think you could just sense a bit of relief around the stadium when Fanua Blake crashed over. A good try too in the 3rd minute. Relief that, hey, they had started well, and relief that this narrative, which personally I thought was a bit over the top because they were playing really well, and if that was their big problem, then I could take it. But, relief that narrative is over and they actually can talk about something else apart from the starts.
Does it matter that they don't always win pretty, or would you like to see them at some stage, and maybe more often than not when they win matches, win in an eye-catching fashion?
It would be good. I mean, the thing with the NRL, unless you're a top team, most of the time games are pretty close. And this season, I don't think the Warriors have really had a complete performance apart from the game in Townsville. That listeners will remember where they really just played well and blew the Cowboys away 26-12. Apart from that, every game they've kind of, had patches and all that sort of thing. So you would like to see some more comfortable victories, but the good sign is that surely this team's only going to get better. They're a new team, so many new recruits. They're going to get more cohesive, and that's when things start to flow. But the good thing is, as we said before, they're finding a way to get out of jail. They certainly got out of jail last night in a big way because the Cowboys had a lot of chances. And after 7 rounds, they've won 5 games. I mean, we've got to remember, the whole of last season, they won 6 games.
It's quite a jarring stat there, but jarring in a good way for 2023. Dylan Walker slotted in at number 6 for the injured Tamari Martin yesterday. What did you make of Dylan Walker's performance?
He was good, yeah. He was. I mean, it's a funny one because he's been so good off the bench up the middle. He's been just outstanding in his role when he comes on and plays as a middle forward, gives so much energy. So taking him away from that was tricky, but no, he did well. He defended well. He scored, as you mentioned in your intro, he scored the vital try in the 61st minute. And I think on a wider point, it just shows with Andrew Webster, he just got this happy knack of making good selection calls. He just seems to have this instinct. Some coaches have it, some don't. I think Nathan Brown probably didn't, but Webster, he's making a lot of good selection calls. Walker was one of them when he had other options. He decided to put Marcelo Montoya in the centres. That worked. He retained Ed Cossey despite the return of Watene Zelezniak, and he moved Josh Curran into a starting role. So all the things he tried came off, which is just very good to see from he's still a rookie coach.
Tohu Harris, we saw him return to the starting side, in fact, to the side proper after he's missed the last 2 games. I think he was named in the week of both of those games before not actually making it into the side. How much of a different side are the Warriors when Tohu Harris is playing?
Yeah, well, I was asked this during the week, and the comparison is it's a bit like living in Auckland without a car. You can you can get away with it for a week, maybe 2 weeks, but after that it just doesn't work because it's just too hard to get around. And it's a bit like that with Harris. You can live without him for 1 or 2 weeks, but any longer, he is just so important in so many ways. I mean, he comes back last night, 63 minutes, I think 33 tackles, 16 carries for about 120 metres. But the other thing about him, he's become a ball player this year, so he's sort of playing that role, one off the ruck where he gets the ball and then feeds it to Johnson or Walker. He's become a really good ball player. He played a hand in the first try. He's just a really smart player, but he's also a guy a bit like Simon Mannering that turns up at the tough moments, does the 1%ers. So, yeah, he is, I guess, along with Sean Johnson, he is the MVP.
Huge crowd there yesterday, Burge. Sold out from what I could see. They got the sold out signs up, and it must be a real boost to the players to play in front of a crowd like that. And look, it must be so cool being there with a rugby league fan base that's been starved of this team for a couple of 3 years to be able to turn up, and not only turn up, but see their team playing like this.
Yeah, that's a really good point, mate, because I guess last season, the crowd really turned up for 3 or 4 homecoming games, which were lovely occasions, but the season was gone. They had a couple of wins. They had a really bad loss against the Titans. But, yeah, to turn up, experience this wonderful atmosphere, as you say, the team hasn't been here for 3 years, and they've got a team that is really reliable and gutsy and brave and all those attributes you want from your favourite team. I mean, fans just must be absolutely loving this, and I guess it's been shown in their turnout. And when they play the Roosters week after next, I think there'll be another massive crowd because, I watched the fans walking out last night and you could just hear the excitement and the chatter and you could see the smiles, and I'm pretty sure all of them will want to come back. They want more of that, and they'll be telling their mates. So, it's I think a lot of people will be getting on board the train.
Andrew Webster, I know you did a terrific piece on him. You shadowed him for a while pre-season, and hindsight's always a wonderful thing. But did you see this turnaround coming under his mentorship?
No. Like what I'll say is, I think everyone expected a bit of a change with a new coach, and we'd heard good things about him. And then those of us who were lucky enough to see a bit behind the curtain, we knew there might be some sort of transformation, but no one, I think, expected it to be this quick. That's the point. It's round 7, we're mid-April, and you can already see what he's built. And it feels like, without getting carried away, that they're only going to get better with more time together. So, what he's done, I mean, he's a bit fortunate, obviously, to take over at a time when they come home, and he will admit that. But what he's done is just absolutely remarkable, really, to put a new team together, but also to rebuild the confidence and the belief, not just to the team, but around the whole club, is absolutely amazing. And then on top of that, he's sort of found a game model that works. He's found a game model that works for them attacking-wise, that they'll probably start to, as you mentioned before, they'll probably start to play with a bit more flair, but the model works at the moment. And then he's got them defending. The defence has been remarkable, especially compared to where it was. So, he is, he'll be turning heads, won't he? He'll be turning heads in the NRL.
Absolutely right. Burge, I look ahead to the next three games. The Storm in Melbourne on Anzac Day. And look, I think I must have put this out of my mind, the specifics of this, but I can't remember too much in the way of good results happening for the Warriors on Anzac Day in Melbourne. Then the Roosters, then the Panthers. Are we going to find out a bit more about this team in the next three games?
Yeah, we are, exactly. That's the thing. And that's why last night was so important. Because you imagine if you lose last night and then you're going to play the Storm in Melbourne with a 4-3 record, and then you might be thinking, okay, if we lose this, we're back to 4-4, and it's a little bit of, what we've built has been undone. So that's why last night was so important. But yeah, the next 3 weeks are absolutely massive, Piney, just because of who they're playing. But they'll know. Dylan Walker actually told us after the game that, look, if we get 50% possession and we tidy up some of these areas, we can compete with any team. And I think that's the new mindset in this team. Instead of maybe hopeful of a sort of a miracle display, they really believe that they can do it. The Storm will be tough. I mean, I think they haven't beaten the Storm since 2015, which is a long, long time. Maybe you can start a campaign on your show, Piney, actually, to maybe bring an Anzac game to New Zealand. I'm not sure why they always have to be in Melbourne instead of being maybe one being over here. But yeah, that'll be extremely tough. But that's, I think they're building nicely, building to a big performance, and hopefully that's what we can see. And the other good thing is they've just got a really good foundation. They've still got 7 games to go at Mount Smart this season, plus a game in Napier and in Hamilton. So they've got 5 wins already, a lot of home games to come, and then they can bank some away games. There's a really good platform there.
Absolutely, there is. Great to talk rugby league with you, Burge. You're off to the Phoenix. Do you have a car? I want you to be like a team without Tohu Harris and not be able to get here.
Exactly. Yes, I do have a car, and I will be using it. I wasn't having a go at the public transport system in Auckland, which is pretty good. I was just pointing out that it's a big city and it can be hard to get around. We'll leave it there.
It was one of the great analogies I've ever heard, Burge. One of the great analogies. Thanks, mate. Great to talk to you.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.
Hello, I'm Liam Dan, Business Editor-at-Large for the New Zealand Herald, and I'm back with another season of my podcast, Money Talks. In this series, we're not going to tell you how to get rich. We're not going to try and pick the next interest rate move. Instead, I'll be talking to some interesting New Zealanders about how money has shaped their lives and what they've learned about it through the years. Join us every Saturday for a new chat with an exciting range of guests from the world of business, politics and entertainment. You can find Money Talks with me, Liam Dan, wherever you get your podcasts.